Good Thursday evening, East Tennessee. My name is David Aldridge, Chief Meteorologist of Captain Accurate Weather, coming to you by way of the Captain Accurate Weather Command Center. We've got some freezing rain, we've got some sleet, we've got some snow, we've got some rain. Well, what is it? It's everything. It's like the whole kitchen sink thrown in on a good measure. I want to show you what the Ultimate Doppler radar looks like right now, as we're going to focus more on the radar here. But the Ultimate Doppler radar is presented by our friends at Madlock Tire Service and Auto Repair, serving East Tennessee since 1953. Where you see some pink, good chance that you're getting a freezing rain sleet mix, and that would include with the winter weather advisory till 7 p.m. tomorrow night. We've got a little stretch of bad weather still moving ahead. Now, there is still some green. That's not all bad. You can see in parts of Monroe County, south of Madisonville, I see some showers that would be more indicative perhaps of rain, but some colder valleys or sheltered areas could be more freezing rain. And you can see that over here on the southeast side of Monroe County, for example. But if you're on the call, let me know. I'm on Facebook and YouTube. I see Needed97 on YouTube. He says, hey, David, felt the cold today. I bet you did. I bet you did, David. Thank you for that observation. Let me know what you are seeing at this time. I see some rain showers south of Kingston, a couple of mixed showers near Lenoir City, but it does turn a little dicey perhaps with some sleet and freezing rain around Mascot, West Knoxville, and Kodak, Boyd's Creek, getting a little bit of mix too. And if you move further north, it would suggest, at least from the coloring, because ground spotters, weather spotters are so much more effective than the coloring, but it would suggest it's snowing or flurrying in Oneida, maybe a mix around Huntsville here in parts of Scott County, so it almost divides the county in half. We have a mix around Sunbright, Wartburg, and Jamestown, or so it would appear. And if we move back toward the southwest, it would almost look like, is Crossville not getting anything at all? Well, let's take a look. Let me show you the national radar, because you can see there are going to be some things we can't see based on the location of the radar. But when you look up from the national view, it would look like it is precipitating a mix in northwest Cumberland County, just northwest of Crossville. But I'm very interested to know what you're seeing at this particular time. I'm popping up over to Facebook. Want to see your comments if they're coming in. I see Kathy Self. She says, East Morristown here, David. Thank you for representing East Morristown, Kathy. Glad to have you here. A couple of rain showers around Cookeville and Sparta. Those might be more rain showers, but it does turn more to a snow situation, perhaps around Sneedville. So if you're watching from Hancock County, very well could be, in this case, just some snow with some mixing further south of town. But it looks like it's a mix around Rogersville. So it's just going to be depending on where you are at a particular time. Clearly, far and away, if you've seen my forecast, it's up here in parts of southeast Kentucky that's going to get the lion's share of the snow tonight. And I think as we head into Friday night, Saturday morning, we'll make up for lost ground in the Smokies. So all this is still yet to come. And you can see, if we put a loop on this, this is our current image here at 8:33. If we just do 30 minutes, let's go back 30 minutes, you can see how it's just kind of rolling in, right? So we have these pink showers of the rain, sleet, freezing rain combination from Townsend and Knoxville to La Follette, and there's more reinforcements coming in from Cookeville. So it's rather sloppy, no doubt, but it's going to continue to take, as we go through tonight, we left an 80% chance of precipitation, but a 30% chance during the day today and a 30% during the day tomorrow. But it's very important to note, tomorrow's temperature, my high temperature will be falling, big arrow down, after about 8 a.m. So after 8 a.m., look for temperatures to ease downward. That's because the front's going to be moving well to the east. It'll be gone by after 8 o'clock. Certainly we'll feel the effects of it. But getting back to the other radars, not when we see this, we go back here and look at the radar, and we'll stop it to the current time. But if you've got an observation, let me know what you're seeing. This is, again, is just indicative of where we see the mixing going on at this particular time. I got some other notes. Sean Cogdell says, anything in Pittman Center tonight? Well, I wouldn't expect a whole lot other than some nuisance precipitation. It will be somewhat light to moderate. But if we were to zoom in to Pittman Center, Sean, I would say we're going to see perhaps a little bit more of what we're seeing in Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg. That's the mix from Wares Valley, Pigeon Forge, and there's Pittman Center right there in the center of my screen there. I think I had it right there before a moment ago. Yep, there he is. There's Pittman Center. So you've got a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Hodgepodge of a mix. Alan says light drizzle in Corrigan. Thank you, Alan. Richard Hicks saying, how about Clinton for the next 24 hours? Pretty much the same. If you've seen my forecast, I have not made any alterations to that forecast. We are going to see a mix on the front end, which is this afternoon and tonight, and that's why you're seeing all this pink filling in across the screen. And if we look at the other mosaic, you can see it looks more ominous. Some of this is reaching the ground and some of it is not. but what the radar does see is this, and that's why it doesn't look as bad. But where you see some coloring, there's a good chance it's precipitate. It looks like Sevierville is kind of a rain and mix of sleet and freezing rain, and we're going to get more into that here in a moment. Let's switch gears. I'll come back on camera, but I want you to see the forecast that I've had now out for more than 24 hours, maybe 36 hours. I've had it for a while. My premium members have had it even longer than that. I'm only expecting 0. I mean, I'm already there, right? How much snow have you had in Knoxville? Nothing. Well, you might not get anything. You might be lucky to say, I didn't even barely see a snowflake. That's okay. That fits my realm of possibilities. And why would I say that? Because the temperature and the elevation, which we've loved to call the horseshoe effect, why is it? It's because it favors the horseshoe look. It configures. It goes do-si-do around Knoxville. It's going to skip us. It's because of the track. It's coming in from the west, northwest. It's not a southern slider like we had from Martin Luther King Jr. Day. That was a southern storm that moved between Chattanooga and Atlanta, and it dropped 8.5 inches of snow, in case you were out of town. So Knoxville can get snow, but it has to be a southern system, most likely. In this case, it's a west-northwest system, so we've got 2 to 5. And I'll take this full screen in case you haven't seen it. 2 to 5 around Clingman's Dome in the higher hilltops of Mount LeConte. 2 to 5 for, it's interesting, Harlan County. It wasn't until 2:55 this afternoon the National Weather Service in Jackson finally pulled the trigger and said, you know what, we should have a winter storm warning for Harlan County. You think? Yeah, I think you do. You need one. So they got one now. 2 to 5 is their wording from the National Weather Service in Jackson. And I think 1 to 3 is very plus. 1 to 3 plus. There'll be some locally higher amounts. But Jellicoe, Williamsburg, Barberville, Knox County, Kentucky, not Knox County, Tennessee, Knox County, Kentucky could pick up 2 or 3 inches of snow easily. Now, what about Jamestown? ½ inch to 2, if you're lucky. Maybe a ½ inch to 1 or 2 around Crossville, mainly north of town. But that rain, sleet, freezing rain, that's what we're dealing with now. I expect no snow for Nyota, no snow for Decatur, no snow for Etowah, and probably most of the valleys are no snow. But once you get up to the higher hills of Granger County, you've taken that drive. You go up to Granger County, and it's suddenly like, it's different. You suddenly, like, they've got hilltops, and suddenly snow-capped. I think that's certainly why I've left the ½ inch there. And anything north of Maynardville, maybe also in that ½ inch to 2 possibility. La Follette, certainly, very different atmosphere than down here, because we're in the bottom of the valley. By the way, I want to check in with you if you are on the call. I'm on Facebook. Lucas says, Morristown, any snow? Morristown, let's see. You tell me. Look at this map. How much snow for? Maybe north of Morristown, ½ inch. But as you gradually get into Hawkins County, more likely 1 and 2. It's going to be gradual. And again, this is an estimation, but my expectation is very, very, very little snow for Knoxville. There's going to be a lot of folks who are going to, and if you've lived here any length of time, there's a big difference between, say, Sneedville and La Follette in terms of snow in that horseshoe configuration than what we get here in the valley. So people say, oh, we didn't get nothing. I heard we're going to snow. That's just what we get. It's the track and the timing and the temperature all combined that's playing a role in this. I'm going to revisit this map here in a moment, but I've got a lot of ground to cover. It's 8:38. This is the ugly mess that we're being affected by right now, and it is pink for a reason, because it could be a mix of rain, sleet, freezing rain, and then going back to rain in some green areas, back to snow in the blue areas. It's just, I mean, you need a scorecard. You need to track it on my Captain Accurate Weather app. It'll also give you 2 hours of future radar. What is that about? You hit the play button. Have you not seen this? If you don't have the app, download it. It's free, but you push the play button 1 touch, and you get 2 hours past, you get the present, and then you get 2 hours of model data in the future. Going in the future. So you can figure out when's it going to get out of here. Because that question invariably comes up every time we get precipitation. When is it going to get out of here? Well, hit the button. You'll see it on your map. 31 is our current temperature at 8 o'clock. It's 29 in Oak Ridge, 30 degrees in Morristown, and 34 in Rockwood. Yeah, there's enough cold air in Oak Ridge that would be freezing rain where it falls. And again, some of this will freeze on contact. So if it wasn't bad enough, we have black ice from the snow from this week. We're now adding misery, a little icing of misery on top of what we're melting or slowly melting in some areas. 5 miles, that's it. 5 mile an hour wind at McGee-Tyson. I suspect winds will be about 3 to 8 plus during the night tonight. May actually get a little windier after about 3 or 4 in the morning, because the front will be approaching and pulling away. So if you have a wind, well, you have a number. So it actually feels, even though 31 is the temperature, it feels like 26 in Knoxville. Doesn't show a wind in Oak Ridge, so no wind chill for you. But if you have a wind in La Follette, it feels like 25. and 30 in Jamestown and so on. And there are some gusts right now, but mainly in the higher elevations of the Smokies for wind gusts. Temperatures right now, 31 Knoxville, 35 in Chattanooga, and we struggled. Admittedly, temperature today only hit 33 degrees. I was expecting 38, but again, when you have all that ice on the ground, it's hard to heat the ground when there's so much ice and snow still on it. So we struggled, but those who did get into the mid to upper 30s, it would have been, say, Chattanooga. They're currently at 35. Huntsville is at 37 degrees at this particular hour. Let me show you how bad it was this morning. I did forecast 6, to be fair. I forecasted 6, but if you were in Kingston, you're like, you were way off. But if you were in Knoxville, like you were off by a degree. Knoxville, McGee, Tyson hit 5. It was 3 in La Follette, but I did anticipate some warmer numbers in quotation marks in Crossville. Crossville fell to 12, while it was 18 in Kingston, Rockwood, and it was 10 in Madisonville and Tellico Plains. So those were our numbers this morning. Just to give you context, keep in mind we were 0 the morning before, so I guess a 5-degree improvement is better than nothing. 33, the high temperature, that occurred at 3 p.m. 5 degrees occurred at 8:23 a.m. Don't you love the records from the National Weather Service? And as of 5 o'clock p.m., they had indicated they had a trace. But I suspect, if I go back in the records, they probably had more than a trace. They probably had a little bit of not just rain, but some sleet, maybe some freezing rain. They're getting a little bit of everything at this point because it is the kitchen sink. 48 is our normal high for this time of year, record high 74 from 1929. So our high temperatures so far, because there could be some warming. I'm looking at Sevierville. They've hit 36 today, and they hit 36 in Tellico Plains. That would have put me within 2 degrees, but clearly much colder given the snow and ice is still underfoot. 33 Crossville for the high, and Oneida, Jamestown, both hitting 36 degrees. I want to check in with your comments, questions, anything you want to throw at me. I'll do my best to answer. Marilyn says, wow, sure didn't feel like 33. Probably did not. Austin says, on my way home tonight from Oak Ridge, he said, I had some freezing rain as my hood had ice on it once I got home. This was around 7. Yeah, it's very, very slippery, no doubt. Bridges and overpasses, we already have black ice anyway from the week or from earlier this week. But you throw on some precipitation that looks like rain, smells like rain, but then when it freezes on contact, it can be very slippery. So please be extra careful. Bob Alford says, hi, David, from Roane County. We got Roane County represented. And Jessica Anders says 30 felt like warm compared to single digits. I absolutely agree. The bitter cold air, sadly, comes back this weekend, and I'm going to get to that here in just a moment. It's 8:43. These were the high temperatures today. If you were, I guess, adventurous or perhaps exercising driving safety, if you were traveling, it was 50 in Greenville. We've got temperature envy. It was 57 in Augusta, Georgia. What in the world's going on? And Atlanta. Look at Atlanta. How could they be 51? We wouldn't know what 51 looked like. Oh, well, we will get to 51. Eventually, we'll get to the 50s by the time we hit Tuesday of next week. So let me keep on moving. I got some slides that I think you're going to be impressed with. I'm saving the best for last. Future snows that you're going to be probably impressed to see. But we go back to the Ultimate Doppler Radar, presented by Matlock Tire Service and Auto Repair. If you're just joining me, where you see pink is a rain, snow, sleet combination. And where you see green, more likely rain in the Southern Valley, which is why I said Niota, Decatur, and Etowah would get no snow, just getting some rain. And you'll say, that was nothing. That's okay. You're in the Southern Valley. It's a little warmer there. But the snow is showing up apparently around Jellicoe, perhaps around McLeod Mountain, and also around La Follette, if not some mixing elsewhere. By the way, East Tennessee's #1 tire service and auto repair in East Tennessee since 1953. I'm talking about Matlock Tire Service and Auto Repair. They have 5 convenient locations to serve you. If you need a new set of tires, maybe you need an oil change, because everybody that I know has a car or they have access to a car and they need an oil change. It's just one of the things that happens over time. So if you want to support Captain Accurate, you don't want to give me stars, but you need an oil change, just go to Matlock. Tell them Captain Accurate sent you. You'd be amazed at the smiles that come on their face. I think you'll be amazed. So check them out. They're in Maryville. They're in Lenore City. And Athens might be near you in Hardin Valley. So you've got 5 convenient locations, and you can book your appointments once maybe the weather gets better online. So you can do that ahead of schedule, and makes it your life a whole lot easier. By the way, the radar showing all that pink, it's kind of messy, I would agree. But if what's going on around the rest of the country, they've got wind chill advisories in Memphis. You're going to see that we have some new ones to come in soon. I'll show you that. Also in Omaha, they got more snow concerns in Iowa. Every time I go to Iowa, it's snowing. It's like I can only imagine if they were breaking some snow records there. Chicago, north of St. Louis, they're getting some snow. So we're just getting the mixed bag. We're right on the edge of the playing field. We could have been in the snow zone, but we were there back on Monday for MLK Junior Day. Now we go back to the radar, and what do we see? The movement is moving from west to east. So if you're in Newport and you haven't had much yet, or Pittman Center, if you haven't had much yet, it's drifting in your direction. And I mentioned the winter weather advisory will last until 7 p.m. Now, let's bring you up to speed from our friends at the National Weather Service. They have winter weather advisories that last until 7 p.m., but that's not true if you're in Crossville or Jamestown. If you're in Cumberland County, Fentress County, you will have your winter weather advisory until 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, Central Time. Big difference, right? Because this thing is moving from west to east, and there's a front coming in. So the times are very different. And if you're in the Smokies, if you tilt your head, it says until 7 a.m. Saturday. So the Smokies have a winter weather advisory that lasts until 7 a.m. Saturday, like 12 hours after the Knoxville one expires. And we're talking about up to 4 inches plus 1/10 of an inch of ice for the Smokies. And most of us are dealing with the mixed precipitation. It's very important when you see the color of this purple, which everybody immediately assumes it's a snow event. Definitely check the app. Just tap on it. You can read their text, their wording, and it'll say mixed precipitation. I took their quote because that was the expectation. Because of this freezing rain, sleet, and combination with some ice, less than 1 inch of snow is expected. I think it's even less than 1/2 inch for many of us in the Knoxville area. But maybe I was just going to say some areas, higher hills in Granger County, maybe over 1 inch or more. But certainly the 1/2 inch of snow with throwing in some ice up to 1/10 of an inch, it could be very dicey. So here's the latest on the wind chill advisory. If you didn't know, there's a new one now issued for the plateau. They feel like it's going to be as low as -10 going into Friday night and into noon Central Time Saturday. So if you're in Crossville, Jamestown, a wind chill advisory will kick in at 10 o'clock tomorrow night, run till noon on Saturday. And what about the Smokies? Well, they've got a wind chill watch because we're not quite to Friday evening yet, but I'm sure this will be a wind chill advisory by tomorrow morning, if not a warning, because they think it'll be as low as -20. -20, probably going to lean toward the wind chill warning. Just my guess. But again, I'm not in the minds of the Weather Service, but I can probably tell you it's going to be pretty bad if you're in the Smokies. Plus, they're getting more snow over the weekend. Got some other notes from you. Steven Snyder, Team Snow, probably ready for spring now. Yeah, I found somebody who had changed their moniker. They were all about snow. They were then, please bring me sunshine. I knew this would happen. I had a feeling if we got hit hard, we did. And now we're getting some people who are defecting to Team Spring. I don't know why it is. Kathy says all it takes is 5 days of being snowed in. We've got cabin fever. Some of you have frozen pipes. And maybe you don't know you have frozen pipes yet, but these are all bad things. We want the fun part of winter, right? Where you can make a snowman and not have to worry. That's what the kids are probably focused on. Looks like Lulu. What about Morristown? We talked about Morristown. There may not be a whole lot to see in terms of snow accumulation, but mainly north of Hamlin County, north of Morristown, maybe closer to 1/2 inch to 1 inch or more. It's just going to be depending on elevation. Now, why, you might ask, are we getting this mix? Why can't it be just snow? Well, blame it on the temperatures. If not at the surface, blame it at 3,000 feet. Blame it at 5,000 feet because there's a wedge of warm air that can either give us snow, very little wedge there, but sleet certainly can give us, if it's a very narrow band, those icy pellets. And they make noise when they hit your windshield, like ding, 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 ding. You feel like you've won the lottery, but you actually have entered into a wintry mess. Then there's the freezing rain, probably even worse than the sleet, because if you get a lot of sleet, it's like walking through Epsom salt. Some of you know exactly what Epsom salt looks like. Yeah, okay, yeah, this is what it's like. If you get a lot of it, you're like 1/2 inch of sleet, that can be a mess too. But freezing rain, you freeze on contact, and that's when the power lines start to sag. We're not there. This is just less than 1/10. And I'm going to show you some of the totals here. Let's get to the sleet. This is the model data. And where you see some orange would be probably where the most of sleet we'll see. This takes you through about 1 o'clock in the morning on Friday, focused around Mount LeConte, maybe in Blount County, a little bit of coloring there. So we will see very little sleet, but it doesn't take much to make things a little more dicey on driving. What about the icing? This would be representative of freezing rain accumulation. There's some spots here we go into tonight, tomorrow. It starts to populate some numbers. Maybe it's 1/100th of an inch, 2/100ths of an inch. May not be that much, but it wouldn't take much to cause an whoopsie where you step on, look at Sevierville, 5/100ths of an inch, perhaps a freezing rain, in addition to the snow potential for the higher elevation. So that's just one element to this equation. Headlines, mixed to snow showers tonight, because we are awaiting a cold front. And once that front comes through, then it's going to be more snow showers as the general rule rather than the mixed bag. So we've got mixed to snow showers tonight, snow showers and a few flurries. I mean, flurries for Knoxville, proper. Snow showers for the higher elevations around the horseshoe effect. And then frigid weekend with mountain flakes that continue to pile up in the Smokies. That's why I have 2 to 5 plus, because I'm sure Mount LeConte will overachieve. I have 5 plus, they'll have probably a foot the way they look, because they're at 6,600. They're pretty high up, right? So they're going to have a lot more snow in the Smokies this weekend, along with those nasty wind chills. We are hoping to get this to melt, as many of you have hoped. Pavement temperatures don't really get warm, considerably warm, even through tomorrow, because it's going to be cold outside and our temperatures are going to fall. But as we take a look at the temperatures by Saturday morning, we as a whole should be around 7 degrees at 7 a.m. Saturday. Boo! And road temperatures could be around 20 or 13 or even 9 south of Jamestown. That's projected by the modeling. But then by midday or 3 p.m., we get back to the 30s. It's until we probably get into next week when we eventually get in the 40s and 50s will a lot of this start to fade away. Certainly if this snow is in the shade and not in the direct sun, it's going to probably linger for some time. And if you look at the temperatures, we actually match our Huntington, West Virginia neighbors. They're at 31. I see a 67, though, in El Paso. You're like, get me on a plane. I'm going to El Paso. Or how about Miami? They're at 75 right now. That seems nice compared to Bismarck. They are a 0 degrees in Bismarck. Now, if you are thinking that winter is going to disappear after this week, think again. Sure, it might be rotating like the tide. How many times do you go to the beach and you're enjoying the high surf? You have a boogie board or a surfboard. You can't go to the beach thinking it's high tide all the time. Sometimes in the morning it's low tide, and it cycles in, cycles out. And the cycles, even though there are a lot of winter now, it's like we get a little warm for a day or two, and then we're cold for 3 or 4 days. So we're leaning toward more wintry weather, even heading into February. This is 5 o'clock Friday afternoon. The cold air, the polar Arctic blast comes in. That's why we're dropping to the single digits again Saturday morning. Should drop to 4 on Sunday morning. You're going, that's crazy. It's 4 degrees because we don't have far to fall. There's going to be a big area of high pressure overhead, so all of our heat will escape rapidly on Sunday morning. Now we see some warmer colors. By the time we hit the 23rd, and by the time we hit, that's Tuesday, by the time we hit the 24th, it looks like it's getting warmer. We've got rain in the forecast, maybe even some thunderstorms. It could be on the strong side if we get enough humidity coming up from the Gulf of Mexico. But like anything else, it cycles back around. This purple ooze is going to ooze back down as we head into February, into Groundhog Day, and so it goes. So I don't think winter's over by any stretch. We have the potential for more southern sliders and more snow, potentially for Knoxville. 31 current temperature. We have an east wind at 5, and it feels like 26. That's our current temperature. I want to check in with you. We've got some more updates, some of the best maps. I've got to show you the snow, future snow that you want to see. I haven't done that yet. Jacob Hatfield says, weather's acting too odd for me to keep up with it. He's laughing. First decided it wanted to freezing rain here, then a wintry mix, then back to freezing rain, then to snow. Exactly. And then when they ask the weatherman, what's it going to be? I go, yes, and yes, and yes. Oh, you're just playing you're playing all sides of the table. I'm just telling you, it can be yes, yes, and yes, and you just verified it. Thank you, Jacob. See, Lulu says, I'm so ready for warm weather. And Victor Max says, someone tell the groundhog to hibernate. I've already made my prediction. I have a strong prediction that the weather prognosticator known as Puxatony Phil, he'll see his shadow. Because if you look at the records, he sees his shadow like all the time. Like there's very few. I think it's a marketing thing. Maybe, just guessing. But I think he will see his shadow once he says, 6 more weeks of winter. Because we will get that, I think, whether he predicts it or not. Here's the futurecast. Look at the mix. And there's the front. This is 11 o'clock tonight. We're going to see more of what you're getting right now. Don't expect any improvement until after midnight. Look at 7 a.m. You say, oh, it stopped. It must be over. Oh, I didn't get any snow. That weatherman busted. I don't see any snow. But give it some time. Give it an hour. Give it 2 hours. Let's take it at 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock. There's noon. So it comes by, starting to snow, especially in the areas north of higher elevations. You go from the foothills up to, say, Chimney Tops. They're getting some good snow at lunchtime tomorrow. And then it looks like it wants to come back in some of the areas around Crossville. It looks like the horseshoe effect. Oh, it's amazing. Why is that happening? It's happening because of the temperature and elevation. It's colder there. And we're in the bottom of we're at the bottom of the valley, right? So all this activity is happening above us, and that's what's going to see that configuration. There's 4:30. If you didn't get much snow, you say, oh, you forecasted 0. Well, see, the problem is people hear 0 to a ½ inch. They take the ½ inch and they put it in their pocket. That's all they hear. La, I heard a ½ inch. You didn't hear 0 to ½ inch because there's a range. And if Jacob can have a little bit of freezing rain, then some snow, back to freezing rain, back to snow, it's any wonder we have a very dynamic area that to forecast. But look at the snow on, say, Friday night. It's still snowing in the higher elevations. You can see it's still snowing in West Virginia. And then watch Saturday. It comes back. I'm pretty sure it comes back. Certainly in the afternoon. There's 9 a.m. Maybe another flurry or two in Knoxville at 10:15. But then it finds a new home in the higher terrain. We're talking Clingman's Dome, Chimney Tops, Newfound Gap. They're still getting snow. Here's 2 o'clock Saturday. All of it's flowing in from the northwest. It's the upslope flow, meaning it's riding up the hills. Just like when you hit a speed bump in your car, you go, whoop, you do it. So the air rises more rapidly and it squeezes out more flakes. And they have the wind chill warning, perhaps, where it could feel like it's -20. Crazy town. 4 p.m. Saturday, it's still snowing in the Smokies, but not Knoxville. And then maybe by 5 o'clock Saturday, it's done. But maybe not done in West Virginia. High pressure comes in Sunday morning. That's why we're down to 4. We're going to get really cold really fast. I do think Sunday morning will be a few degrees colder. Now, if you stayed this late here at 8:56, I want to show you what the models are showing. Because too many people will see this type of information on the internet, and there's nobody to explain it. If you don't understand the physics of what's going into this, this is not taking into account the mixing. And last I heard, we got some mixing from some of you. So this is pie in the sky. You might see this and go, oh, we're getting a 1.4. No, we're not. No, we're not. If you take into account the mixing, you're more likely to get this. 0.1. You can't measure 0.1. Exactly. Take a ruler and tell me how you measure 0.1 inches of snow. You don't. You can't. It's flurries. It's flurries. And maybe we get a ½ inch to an inch or more in Oneida and up towards southeast Kentucky. It's just going to depend on where those snow showers take hold, because that's what this is. Snow showers. It's not an equal opportunity snow, and I don't want to paint it as such. That's why my Goldilocks forecast, one's too hot, one's too cold, one's off base, one's, I think, too light. This is what I expect. ½ inch to 2, Jamestown to north of Wartburg, 1 to 3 for southeast Kentucky and Jellicoe, 2 to 5 for Harlan and Bell counties, or at least parts of the higher terrain there, and 2 to 5 plus, emphasis on plus, for Chimney Tops, Newfound Gap, and Mount LeConte. But 0 to ½ again, big range. You know and I know. Big difference if you drive from Knoxville to, say, Rutledge. You head up into the mountains of Granger County, they will be snow-capped, no doubt, I think, by the time we hit, say, Friday evening, because that will be winding down. And then it continues on in the Smokies, as I mentioned, on Saturday. So here's the forecast, wrapping up here before 9 o'clock. Mixed to snow showers, we're down to around 30. The good news, it's not as cold tonight. Some of you have dropped below 30 now. I understand that. But for Knoxville, we're kind of holding steady. That's what I suspect we'll find. Upper 20s for Morristown. 22, however, for Crossville is my expectation tonight. 26 for Kingston, Rockwood, Harriman. And if you're in Maryville, Alcoa, closer to 30, 31. About 28 for Sevierville. And again, freezing rain, sleet, the whole kit and caboodle, at least for tonight, before it changes over passing this front by. 35 will come early. I got a little too aggressive with my text, so forgive me. It went off my box, but you get the picture. Mostly cloudy tomorrow. It's an early high temperature, just around 8 o'clock in the morning. So if you're up and it's already 35, don't fret, because it's going to be 34 perhaps by 9 o'clock. And then perhaps by 10 o'clock, it's 33. And then by 11 o'clock, it's 32, and so on. It's just going to gradually get colder. Not necessarily a dramatic drop, but a gradual drop during the course of tomorrow. And I think the winds will be southwest to start, and then they're westerly 5 to 15. So there's a little more bluster to the air. Very few flakes for Knoxville, but snow showers in the horseshoe configuration. Gusts of wind about 25 miles per hour for Friday. Looking ahead to the Captain Accurate Weather Authority forecast, 21 is my high expected on Saturday. If you're thankful for these fronts, they're just reinforcing that cold. Down to 4 Sunday morning. And then we get into the 50s. So if we're not melting snow under bright sunshine Sunday or even Monday, I do think with more clouds in the 50s, things will start to turn around, especially when lows are in the upper 30s. When the lows are above freezing, 38, 40, 45, there won't be much snow left. We'll have to say goodbye. And the rain will just kind of wash what's left. Maybe the residue is still around as we head into Wednesday and Thursday. But it's all about the pavement temperatures, how much sun we're getting. But obviously with these lows at 4 and 14, this crusty snow may be slow to leave, and that means black ice will need to be monitored too, because it's hard to see. Just walking to the mailbox can be very treacherous, so be extra careful. If you got a comment, let me know. Judy Kerr just started to flurry a little in Rutledge. Be safe. Thank you for all you've done to keep us informed. My pleasure. Kathy Nance says snow is fine, but I don't like it hanging on for dear life. I get that. And on YouTube, I got some notes. Gail, 1959, she's on YouTube, says my car is covered in ice. Light rain is in Crossville, and guessing it's freezing when it lands, most likely. A little bit of sleet and freezing rain is never pleasant. And I got another note. Thank you so much for keeping us updated. This is from What's Haunting the Hearsts. I like that. I like the moniker. And Felicia's Crafty Adventure says, will there be enough rain to wash away some of the snow? Yes, that'll help too. But again, I think the real key will be those overnight lows, 38, 45. And that's really not till Tuesday night and into Wednesday. Just keep an eye on how much snow melted with the sunshine we've had since Monday. Maybe very little. I've been keeping an eye on even my own backyard where I have some shade, and a lot of the snow that hasn't been sun exposed is still there. We got 8.5 inches. I got about 8. I probably still have about 6.5 to 7 still in the shade. So I understand. Be extra careful. And again, we're going to want to do the dripping the faucets again. Maybe not so much tonight, although it wouldn't hurt. If you're in the habit, do it. But once we get into the single digits this weekend, you're going to be thankful to open the cabinets in the kitchen and bathroom and let those faucets drip, because we want to avoid freezing pipes. Okay, just got all that covered. Oh, by the way, do you want something free? If you're lacking information and you're questioning, where can I get it? Download my free, he said free Captain Accurate Weather app with Pete Michaels Traffic. You get all the National Weather Service alerts in real time, so as soon as they're issued, they pop up on the screen of your phone. And like the wind chill advisory or the wind chill watch for the Smokies, you would have gotten notified, bingo, if you're in that particular county. Now, there are 3 extra alerts that are very helpful during severe weather season. There's also what's called a BTI score that comes to your phone if and only if it applies. So if there's a probable tornado, you'll get notified. There was not, I used the example of the EF3 that hit Lovell Road, West Knox County in August. The twisting storm approaching alert on the Captain Accurate Weather app, engineered by Barron, came to the phones of those who were around it. I had some weather spotters and some premium members who said, yeah, it went off. But there was not a National Weather Service alert because it was so short-lived. So again, having more intel is a good thing when severe weather strikes. It's free. You get lightning alerts, and you can register up to 16 locations. So if you're going to be in many places, most apps only give you 10. This will give you up to 16, so you can pick out or get notifications for the places that are most important to you. Now, if you want to go somewhat one step further would be to join us on the Captain Accurate Premium side. First, to see my snow forecast, check us out. The URL is there on the screen. You can hit the subscribe button at the top of Facebook on this page, or you can go to CaptainAccurate.com if that subscribe button is not on the site that you're looking. But you're getting 2 streams of information. My premium members received the wind chill watch and the wind chill advisory before I even went on this evening. So they get the information a little bit sooner. If it's important to you, your business is important to get the weather information. Anytime I have an impulse that I say, oh, I want to share this with somebody, I'm sharing it with my premium members. I'd love to have you join us, even if it's to sample it. And I also have the only winter weather outlook that hasn't busted after one snow event, I'm told. Yeah, I still have a winter weather outlook that's 15 minutes long. I don't know if everybody else was that long, but this is just pure weather variables. What's going to happen this winter, I still think is still going to play out. We're already at 8.5 inches officially at the airport. Many of you have had 10 or 11 inches of snow, so I do think we still have more snow ahead of us. Clearly, I've showed that with the cold Arctic air that's still going to come back around. Well, anyway, my name is David Aldridge. Some people call me Captain Accurate. It's not easy being accurate, so weather doesn't surprise you. Please stay safe and drip the faucets and open the cabinets. We'll see you here next time. Take care.